Hey, what it do, y'all? This is Fandom Frequency, where we get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, whether that's anime, music, comic books, or Star Wars. We get into it around these parts, so make sure you're clicking on the buttons below the video, showing that support, showing that love for the channel, and we are going to show it right back to y'all. And we appreciate each and every one of you listeners, watchers, subscribers, and all that. Join the community today. But y'all know what the dealio is. Y'all seen the thumbnail. It's your boy Skips. I'm your boy Will, and we're going to be talking about the latest, maybe the greatest Star Wars show. We'll have to wait and see once the whole thing runs its course, but I'm talking about Ahsoka Tano, baby, episode 1 and 2, the premiere, the double premiere, man. It was a double feature, and they need to start doing this on Disney Plus more often. Double premieres, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Didn't watch it till I got home, much later, but it was, or not much later, but a little bit later, but it was damn good. Man, no beating around the bush, man. What'd you think about this premiere, this 2 episode, this 1-2 punch right there?
It was actually a pretty great start. I loved every pretty much minute of the start of the series of Ahsoka. It was great seeing a lot of the animation characters coming to life. It was cool seeing them on
Hell
on
yeah.
the pretty much live action screen, and I very much enjoyed everything, pretty much everything about these 2 episodes. I think it's looking pretty good in compared to the start of Obi-Wan. That's for sure.
I'm with you 110%, brother. I have like 2 to 3 very minor criticisms of these first 2 episodes. Very, very minor. Overall, I absolutely loved these premiere this premiere of the first two. It was awesome, dude. Just the whole first episode, Master and Apprentice, you know what I mean, where they really took their time to marinate on what's been going on overall with Ahsoka Tano, what her mission is, what the importance of it is, her relationship with Sabine Wren, what Sabine Wren's been up to, and catching up with that character, giving you a little bit of the context of what's going on with them and what the importance of the overall mission is, and getting reintroduced to Harrison Dula, played by one of my personal favorite actresses, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I think really came in and knocked it out of the park.
Hmm.
Did a phenomenal job in her role, and I think both Natasha Lubadizo as Sabine Wren and the obviously great has been for years Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. Perfect casting. Knew it from back in the day, and all the casting all around was just excellent, man. And I just love seeing the Loth cats, seeing Lethal, and seeing Ezra's old spot, seeing the mural of them over there, which is the exact like designs of them in the animated series. I thought was such a nice touch, and just staying true to Sabine Wren's overall art style as a character and artist in the series. Very awesome stuff. But I agree with you, man. It's going to be interesting to see if people are going to get confused by a lot of this Rebels and Clone Wars lore. But
Hmm.
personally, I think you can watch some pretty short recaps on YouTube and things of that nature. A little Wikipedia, I don't think it's going to necessarily hurt you too much. If you've
Hmm.
seen the Mandalorian stuff where Ahsoka Tano first premiered, I also think you're pretty much caught up on what's going on for the most part. But I do think it would benefit people to check out Rebels and to check out at least that series just to get the full context of what's going on for
Hmm.
Sabine, Hera, Ezra, and the context of who Kanan Jarrus was, and in the context of the mural, who Zeb was, so they actually get that cameo from Mandalorian season 3. Like, oh shit, look who it is, you know. So they
Yeah.
actually get the existence of him in the timeline, which means we could see him reunite with the gang. Who knows? Ghost gang, baby, gang, gang. No, it's playing. But fucking Skippy's like, what are you, fucking 18? What's going on here?
No, no,
Nah,
I
but it's
like it. I
fucking
like it.
nah, yeah. We're hip. We're hip over here on Fandom Frequency. We're hip. It's
Hell
lit
yeah, we are.
over here, you know. But on the real though, phenomenal start to it. I'm with you, dude. Unlike shows like Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, which get their fair share of criticisms, this is how you kick off a fucking show, my friend. And I've seen some differing opinions out there, man. Some people think this thing was a little stiff, a little slow. Thought that the actors and as the characters were dull. So some people are definitely on the opposite side of it. But overall, I think the overwhelming reaction has been mostly positive. And although I don't think it's perfect, I do
Hmm.
think it's damn near close, man. It's really good stuff. I think Dave Filoni, Steph Green as the directors, and Dave Filoni as the creator and writer of the series. I think he's just doing a great job so far, man. So I mean, but I mean, yeah, man. I
Definitely,
mean, just getting
definitely.
into the first episode, man, just getting it, kind of breaking down all the plot points and stuff there, kind of from start to finish, for the most part there. let me know if I miss anything, man. But we jump off Master and Apprentice, and we start off with Ray Stevenson's character, which name is escaping me right now.
Balin.
Um,
It was like Balin, right?
yeah, it's like Balin, and then his apprentice.
I think it was.
Um,
I don't
Man,
think
I'm
it
forgetting right now.
was it Shin. I
I
don't think
think
it, like
I don't remember, but
we'll just call it an apprentice. So I don't know if it's
oh
like
yeah,
if it's been like really been said because he didn't really like got really too full like fully properly like introduced.
no, they're keeping her mysterious. I think on purpose for sure, but
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So we don't know much about the apprentice, but we pick up with them attacking a New Republic ship and everything like that under the guise of being old Jedi and whatnot, which is not entirely untrue, I guess, if you look at it from a certain point of view. Hello there, and so they kill all the people on the ship and everything like that, take him out real quick. And we get that really great opening scene of Ray Stevenson's character Balin being like, "Well, one thing is true, we're definitely not Jedi," and just stabs him through the chest. I was like, "Ooh,
That was pretty
there he
cool.
is."
I like the entry point for those two. That it kind of set that tone right off the bat
Exactly.
for everything
Villains.
moving
Let the
forward.
villains be villains and let them be bad motherfuckers with no
Yeah,
remorse. And I love the way that it goes in, and I love the mysterious nature of it. And I love the way that we're still not sure exactly whose side these two are really on. But as we continue on with the series, we pick up with Ahsoka going through to what looks like an old Jedi temple, but we find out later on is an old school Dathomirian temple from thousands of years ago because she is trying to locate a map that has some significant location to where they can, jump in hyperspeed and find out where Thrawn's at, chilling out there in the unknown regions. So,
right.
you see Ahsoka do her badass shit with the double blades, using the Force to cut them in a perfect circle around her so she goes through the ground, freaking Mission Impossible style. Ahsoka Tano just continuously with the awesome, like, movements and poses and everything. She's just iconic with everything she's doing. I swear. Character
She's
was
pretty
just
badass.
designed to make iconic images at this point. But she makes her way in there, gets her hands on the map and everything. But she doesn't get away scot free without getting into a little bit of a
Little
tussle
scrap.
with some droid dudes and everything. And then that was pretty sick, man. Getting to see Ahsoka Tano in live action doing her thing once again. And
Hmm.
just Rosario Dawson does such a great job with the choreography. Has a lot of experience doing that in the past, and the Star Wars team does a great job with that in live action pretty much all the time. So I always want to tip my hat in respect to that, and that definitely pans out here. All the lightsaber action for both episodes was great,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
so Ahsoka Tano gets away with that thing just narrowly, and then she makes her way over to Lothal, where we pick up with our girl. We actually jump over to Harrison Dula actually, and she's doing her thing with the Senate and all that. Gets in contact with Ahsoka Tano, and then from there we jump over to Sabine Wren, who's been kicking it on Lothal. They're having this big to do celebrating her and all the heroics that her and the Ghost team did back in not too long ago. But she's busy, not trying to deal with all that stuff right now, not trying to think about the past, and she's just doing her thing, running around on her freaking
The
speeding
the
cycle
speed spike.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, speeder bike. There you go. That's what I was looking for. And she's doing her thing. And you see that she's growing her hair out and all that stuff. Still got the purple hair and all that. And then Ahsoka Tano pulls up and she's like, "Yo, I need your help. I got a mission for you. Thrawn might be back. Ezra might be out there, and I need your help." Hera's already on board to help out. She's the one that actually made the suggestion for our girl Ahsoka Tano to reach out to Sabine Wren once again and get her expertise and her knowledge as an artist and overall as a Mandalorian to her advantage to try to decode what this map is, how to read it, and where the locations are that are of importance to this overall mission to stop Thrawn. And then as Sabine, her and Ahsoka are definitely not on great terms. They have a little bit of a argument back and forth, but she brings her on the ship, lets her know what's going on, shows her what it's all about, and tells her, "Hey, don't leave the ship. I need you to stay here. It's too risky." She's like, "Well, I'm just need some room and air. I just need some room to, some room to breathe and some
Eh,
space to myself to go think or whatever." And I'm like, "Ah, don't do that, Sabine. That's how
Yeah.
it always happens. God damn it."
And
And
she
and
ended
that
up
was
taking
what
that map too.
yeah, she
That
took the
map.
map with her to go try to decode it, and she was damn near close to doing so. But a goddamn tracker droid was right there when she left, and I knew that was gonna happen. It's the goddamn cliche, Skips. It always
Yep.
happens, and that's one of my only criticisms of these first two episodes. A few too many cliches in that nature, I think, sometimes of like, oh, this character shouldn't obviously do this, but then they go ahead and do that anyways to kick off this stream of events. And I'm like, God damn it, you're experienced, Sabine. You should know by now. God damn it. But, they got to kick off the event somehow. So we continue on. She ends up
Hmm.
having to fight for her life to try to maintain keeping the map away from these weird droid dudes and everything like that. She ends up getting into a tussle with them, but they end up getting away with it. And then she runs into
The Apprentice.
the apprentice herself, man. And I tell you what, this chick is a bad mother. Shut your mouth, man, because she's coming through kicking ass, taking names, and Sabine cannot hang with her at this point. She is way out of practice, has not been keeping up with her Jedi training whatsoever, because obviously her and Ahsoka Tano went their separate ways and are not continuing her training in that aspect. So as they, we get the dope ass battle right there. Some more great lightsaber action, of course. And, Ahsoka is called in for backup, but her and her droid, I have a hard time saying his name every time, played by David Tennant in this thing here in live action. And for those that might not know that name off top, Doctor Who and the Purple Man on Jessica Jones on Netflix. So really good actor, man. Really cool to see him pop in here. But
Hmm.
I always forget how to say his name. But they try to go in to save the day and help retrieve the map. But she's too late, loses the map when the apprentice gave it off to the droid, stabs Sabine through the torso and leaves her there to die essentially. But Ahsoka Tano and them barely pull up just in the nick of time, end up rescuing her ass and taking her to the hospital where she can go get all backed it up. You know what I mean? Get some Zans and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they kind
You
of
know.
like, yeah, and they ended off that episode that way too. And
Yep.
like, and also with that, with going way back to the entry point, we've seen like a familiar face from Mandalorian, and that was Morgan
Oh,
Elsbeth,
true
right?
point.
And
True
that was
point.
the whole reason why Balin and the Apprentice was there. And then it was interesting to see like, for interesting to see her character there at the like first
Yep.
appearance. And then
All the
like as
Dathomirian, all the Night Sister lore stuff coming up once again. And she just becomes more ominous every time you see her, man.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why it was kind of interesting, going back from the entry point, seeing her character and how like Balin and the Apprentice is kind of related to her in that way. Because I believe, if I could remember from last night's when I watched it last night, like what's her face? Morgan kind of hired those two in the past, right? And then like they're kind of like returning the investment or something like that.
Yeah, they're kind of mercenaries in a way.
Yeah, at that point in time. So it was kind of interesting at that point. But yeah, I would say like off of the first episode, it was pretty cool to kind of like dabble, like kind of like get into it. It's cool seeing a lot of the old like the anime characters coming to life, seeing a lot of the references. If you've seen like the Rebel show, especially,
Hell
like
yeah, man.
seeing
Those
like the
cats for days.
yeah, yeah. And it was awesome. I would say it was pretty awesome seeing that. The Star Wars fight in the end, it was cool. I mean, the apprentice is intimidating as hell. Like she just had like
For
those
real.
eyes. Every time like she was fighting with Sabine and her like there's that shot with her eye just like staring down at Sabine like straight up like I want to like just end your ass real quick and just go move on from there. Like she's pretty like cool like ruthless, I would say at
She's like Macho Man Randy Savage, man. She's like, look here, brother. I'm going to look you in the eyes
I
while
want to
I
look you.
kick your ass, brother.
it
Give me the
had
map. Give me the
it,
map, brother, if you know
it
what's
had
good for you.
it had that vibe. It had that vibe. So that's why I was like, shit. It was a great way to end it off because it just pretty much like it just shows Sabine get stabbed and then she just collapsed on the floor and then it just like cut
Cut
off
to
from there.
black. Credits. You ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere. And another thing too that they had the crawl too in the very
Yes.
beginning of the episode. I
Yes.
thought that was a nice little touch to get into it.
That was the main thing I was going to say right there. Get your head out of your ass, Lucasfilm. It's about time. Keep it up. That's how you catch up the audiences on what's going on.
Yeah,
Without having to do a bunch of exposition the whole damn episode. And that was another
yeah,
thing I really loved about it. They didn't have to over explain it. You know, go find out, do your research, figure it out. You gotta pick up what we're putting down. I kind of like this more inside baseball. It's more of a deeper cut for the more hardcore fan. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
sometimes there needs to be stuff like that, and not to rely on that, but I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. And also, it's good to get that stuff out there to expand the audience and get the normies into the hardcore stuff and vice versa. So that way, inside baseball becomes what everyone knows. And that's the
Hmm.
whole purpose of it. And that should be the way that they're looking at Star Wars, man. There's layers upon layers upon layers of lore and pre-established stuff that is no longer canon, that is continuously able to be rolled in and has been and can continue to do so in the right ways and where it fits. Like Thrawn, look at all the great stuff they've done with him and are continuing to do. So I
That
think
is
when
true.
Lucasfilm really dives into the lore and really allows these creators to really go all in, the results show, man. And I think that was the main thing with Obi-Wan, just not a full understanding of some of the lore. Boba Fett trying to kind of switch up the image, trying to make it a little more less
Oh,
rough around the edges and things of that nature. All the things we discussed before about both of those series. I think when you go in those directions with it or try to make things too quick pace, like Mandalorian season 3, even in my personal opinion, when you let things marinate like these first 2 episodes, especially episode 1, I think the results really speak for themselves, man. And with episode 2, we jump into right away right there with you know, with the apprentices and all that, talking to the Night Sister lady and everything,
oh,
and
Morgan.
yeah, Morgan. There you go. Thank you. And she's showing them the map and all the stuff that's going on with that, and pretty much the whole destination point of what they're trying to do and all this stuff near the end of the episode. Obviously, jumping around here, but just wanted to throw that up top and all that. And then you get that stuff going on with her, and then meanwhile we got Ahsoka chilling with Sabine while she's recovering and everything, and reassuring her to just rest while Ahsoka Tano tries to pick up all the pieces after Sabine kind of fucked up on the last episode, getting the map taken, and then she has to go get with Hera and try to figure out what to do and try to figure out how they could get to the bottom of this and figure out a way to see where they're going and everything like that. Because Sabine was only able to pick up on very few details, like of a galaxy, of one planet from their galaxy being a link to another in a different galaxy, but she wasn't able to decrypt the actual exact locations. So Sabine's feeling a little bad about the whole situation and about the screw up, but she's itching to get back into the fight, get back into
Hmm.
action and whatnot. And Ahsoka's out there trying to do her thing, linking up with Harrison Dula. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead is really just coming through and killing it as this character for me, man. I really was digging the vibe she was bringing out in this second episode. And then, they end up finding out about all that Imperial corruption going on in that shipyard or whatever, or and all that stuff going on with that. And those guys are all linked into what's going on. And no matter what happens, dude, the New Republic, there's just corruption just inside of there, like Hydra and Shield and all that shit, man. Once it's in the freaking bloodstream, you just can't get it out of there. But
Yeah,
but
sticking
yeah, man,
around.
and it definitely wasn't as many like big plot points going on overall as much as the first one. But overall, I really dug the pace of this episode. Feel like they didn't overstay its welcome or anything like that. Got some
Hmm.
great lightsaber action near the end there with Ahsoka versus that Inquisitor, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and the other droid guy. And I loved getting to see just double bladed action. Always just never gets old. And getting to really see it in full swing and getting to see the Inquisitor blades in live action in Obi-Wan was cool. But I feel like this felt a little more grounded to me, and I felt like I was able to kind of buy into the fight a little bit more. So I think this
Hmm.
is the best live action Inquisitor type fight that we've seen on screen so far.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
getting to see Harrison Dula in pilot action, getting to do her thing, try to get a tracking device on the ship they're making their escape from, so that way they could try to get a better indication of where they're going, even though they haven't retrieved the map quite yet. And then we see Harrison Dula. I mean, not Harrison Dula, sorry. And then we get to see a lot of Chopper as well in the fight with
Oh
Harrison
yeah, yeah.
Dula, which was fun. Getting to see live action Chopper do his thing, completely in character, design completely accurate. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite droids of all time. Just lots of fun with that guy, and also as well getting to see Sabine kind of after she's healed up, she's getting back into action, getting the haircut, getting the old school look back, and pretty much recreating that final shot from Rebels, which is where this episode leaves us off, where they go off to team up, become master and apprentice once again, continue her training, and go find Ezra and stop Thrawn. And that's pretty much where Rebel season 4 left off. So here at the end of episode 2 of Ahsoka season 1, that's essentially kicking us off into Rebel season 5 effectively. And now we're all caught up on the timeline, and now we're moving forward because the end of Rebels was always intended as a flash forward. So all the stuff in the first 2 episodes here was kind of a prelude to that and was filling in all the blanks in between the last episode, the last scene of Rebel season 4 in that timeline, right before the original trilogy, and then it kicked off right here in the New Republic era, as they've dubbed it here with Mandalorian and all that other stuff that we saw before. And now we're kicking into Rebel season 5, and we're now moving forward into past Mandalorian season 3 and all that other territory. So now we're going to be blazing a new trail. Nothing but cool stuff should come of that. I love how we haven't gotten any glimpse of Thrawn yet. I like how they were teasing that out, doing it Jaws style. Don't show the shark too much. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
would rather have him Thrawn like be like more towards the end of the series because
for
I feel like
sure.
he's kind of like that huge pivot point of like kicking out to something huge like down the line for like all the characters, and he might because like they said essentially this is going to be kind of like a crossover event like pretty
He's the
much with
Thanos of
Mando.
this thing, man. Heir to the
Yeah,
Empire, baby. They're doing it.
yeah. So that's why I would rather wait for Thrawn towards like a little bit later in the series. But no, it was pretty cool. I would say like the episode 2 was pretty nice. It's kind of interesting like it's kind of interesting that we in the beginning of this episode like Morgan kind of like gives out the details of the Night Sister, like the Night Sister, kind of like the temple and everything, kind of giving the history, and kind of like
Yeah,
when she gets answered that question, it's like, oh, where are you? Kind of like the Night, pretty much like, are you the witch? Are you like the Night Sister? She never really confirmed it. She just says she's a survivor. So it'll be interesting if they do have. If they do like later on down the line have some Night Sister kind of action going into the live action series and see how
which
all
I have a
that plans
feeling they're
out.
going to this season. I have a
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
It's
Might
Dave
as well.
Filoni.
Yeah, it might as well, right? So that's why it was pretty cool with that, like in the beginning of this of the episode. And
Hell
like
yeah, man.
even throughout the episode, like we kind of had like I guess Sabine and Ahsoka kind of being on the confliction of going back onto the Master and Apprentice, kind of going back onto the Jedi training
Yeah, Hera was
between the
trying to
two.
convince him.
Yeah, yeah. So that was pretty much like what this episode was about. Was trying to get those two on board again to continue the training, and also with uncovering like the whole like undercover empire
Yeah.
kind of thing in the scrapyard and all that good stuff. So it was pretty interesting. I can't wait for next week's episode.
Fuck yeah, man. This is how you do Star Wars TV, as I was mentioning earlier before we went started recording here, man. And I gotta say, if the show continues on this path, this is gonna deliver exactly what I was hoping for in the series. Just some good classic Star Wars mixed with something fresh and new, with characters that we've all grown, or at least myself, I've grown to love over the years. And Ahsoka Tano has quickly become one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters. Sabine Wren's up there as well. Hera's up there as well. So getting to see all these characters in live action and get to be played by some of my some of my all-time favorite and some really some of the best up and coming actresses working right now. So that combination is just a win-win, and just much love to the great Ray Stevenson, man, in his last performance before his untimely passing. Just doing a great job, just playing a very great nuanced villain as he usually did. One of the more underrated actors of his generation. Really loved his performance as Punisher. There was another film I was gonna highlight, but I can't remember right now. But he was really, really good in it. And I never saw Rome, which was the TV show that he's really known for doing, but I'm sure he was kick ass at that too. And a lot of his fans and supporters are gonna miss him, but he did a great job in this show, and definitely showcases why he is gonna be known for the kick ass actor that he was, man. And
Yeah.
I can't remember the actress's name, but whoever's playing the apprentice, I think, is doing a great job of really playing just a very mysterious character. Doesn't really, not really sure what side she's really on. Definitely has a lot of aggression. Reminds me of Darth Maul a little bit in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Not any other aspect to her, but just in that aspect of it. Just reminds me of a classic Sith character through and through. But interesting color lightsabers and whatnot. Not red, not blue or green, of course, not white. So very interesting to see where they're gonna fall on in the overall good versus bad discussion, and what their overall motive really is on working with Thrawn and getting the power that they're seeking. Obviously, if you take what they're saying verbatim out loud. So it's going to be interesting to see what Ray Stevenson's character and his apprentice is all about. And getting to
Hmm.
see Sabine Wren and Ahsoka back as Master and Apprentice is going to be really cool to see in live action. Get to see that play out. And hopefully it really carries through. And we get to see some really cool, badass stuff throughout the season. And maybe that leads into some Heir to the Empire stuff with the movie. and we get to get even double down on that even more so, because that was the aspect from the sequel trilogy I think all of us Star Wars fans, including myself, even though I enjoyed most of the new trilogy, was missing. That classic Padawan and Jedi Master aspect was really sorely missing from Star Wars overall as a whole, and The Mandalorian was a great breath of fresh air from that aspect. But now it's great to get back into classic Star Wars. Kevin Kiner doing the score, really capturing the essence of John Williams vibes while doing his own thing. I think he should score pretty much everything after this, man. I think he's doing a great job. Even though I love the Ludwig Göransson score over there in Mandalorian, this was just freaking kick ass. Yeah, man, love everything about this premiere for the most part. Other than this one aspect, I want to highlight real quick before we give our final thoughts and everything on the episode. Just I didn't like some of Sabine's dialogue in the first episode. I thought they had her saying a few corny lines in there. I felt a little out of character for her. But overall,
Like which ones?
I don't know, like she's like, oh yeah, I came for the map or whatever. She's like, oh, that's too bad. I was like, okay, yeah, all
I
right,
kind of
yeah,
felt that too, but I was like, I'm
uh-huh,
like, I'm okay. I'm like, okay, that's fun. They're
yeah,
like kind of had that like
just a little bit. It's like,
cockiness
all
to
right,
it.
that's the best you could do. Like, damn,
Yeah.
Sabine, you couldn't think of something a little more clever, or the part where she's like, hey, I got new orders for you. Buzz off or something like that. I was like, oh, okay,
Uh, Trying to get yeah.
all right, I
Yeah,
get
it
it.
is kind of corny. It is kind of
Yeah,
corny, but
but
it's
I mean that's kind of in character, but at the same time, I was like, it feels a little out of place with the tone of the show sometimes. But it wasn't as bad in the second episode, so maybe that was Filoni kind of harkening back to the young Sabine Wren from Rebel season one. Who knows, man? I don't know, but
yeah.
just felt a little corny for me, a little bit here and there. But other than that, I don't have any complaints on the series. I think it's great pacing, great writing, awesome action, great score, cinematography's dope. I love it. I'm sure you feel pretty much the same way, man.
Mhm.
Any other negatives or anything you want to highlight before we say peace out to all these beautiful people
Mm,
out there?
as of right now, going off of first viewing, not really much so far. There is like some parts I would say in the choreography, like especially in the beginning with Ahsoka with the droids, it kind of did feel kind of it felt kind of sluggish. It felt kind of stumblish at that during that fight scene. But
Yeah.
really, other than that, not too much in top of my head. Like I gotta, if anything, probably rewatch it. Like
I'm definitely gonna
again,
rewatch it before the next episodes come out, or just as
yeah,
the new one does, because I absolutely love it. I definitely want to dig into all the Easter eggs and get even more details and stuff as we get into that third episode. So I'm gonna rewatch it for sure. But yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
loved it, man. This is my favorite thing I've watched from Star Wars since the premieres of Mando seasons 1 and 2 right here, and Andor, man. This is really rivaling that right now for me, because I would
yeah.
put probably Andor as like the best series, but Mando being my favorite. This is really rivaling those two pretty strongly so far. So hopefully,
I,
fingers crossed.
I'm hoping so. Like right now, it's a great start, but it's just really the finishing product because like it's kind of it just kind of like the issues with the series. Like some like Obi-Wan, the first episode, it was we thought it could kind of started off like okay-ish.
It did. I was really loved the first episode. I stand by that.
It was like okay-ish. It when as the episodes went on, it kind of for myself, it kind of went downwards,
Same.
and I would say it started going a little bit downwards after episode two. Like when it hit to episode three, I was like, okay, I'm not really. I don't know. I'm not really enjoying it as much as I was in the previous episodes. It was
I'm with you.
so. I would say that moving forward with the series, it just if they keep up with this pace and then kind of like keeping up like I guess kind of having that main focus on like staying on task with like trying to look for Ezra, Thrawn, and then dealing with the apprentice and Balin, and also with Morgan and maybe other characters be introduced. As long as they stay in the like focus of that, then that'll be pretty cool. But I think another thing too is like the kind of if this stuff is going on right now, like there's still the Empire around, there's still all this like there's still like these two mysterious Jedi's or dark Jedi's roaming around. Like they kind of have to like I want him to kind of establish like why isn't Luke going over there, because Luke at this point it's something like kind of like the next big bad kind of growing, it would make sense
Yep.
that Luke would go over there and just nip it in the butt. Like they kind of had to like have some explanation for that because
Yeah.
we
Like he
know,
doesn't necessarily have to be in this season, but I do feel like Heir to the Empire movie or something sooner rather than later he is gonna need to appear again, because like you said, he's a big bad dog. He's a big bad campus security. You know, you're not gonna get through and get past that guy. So he's
yeah,
definitely should be involved in one way or another. Before we get like another season of Ahsoka, or by the time we get that big crossover, he should show up.
at some point or acknowledge like why he can't be with Ahsoka at this point because they Ahsoka and Luke already kind of met already in the past. So
Yep.
I would think it's like a simple phone call, like a simple like connection to
Force call.
yeah,
Force
force
Skype.
call, your force Skype, whichever, and then like kind of like just get this done and over with. But I think that would be like my only thing that I kind of want them to address moving forward with the series.
I feel you, man. I think that's a very valid criticism and a very good thing to point out, man. I'm loving it. Skips is loving it. What says you? Let us know your thoughts about these first two episodes down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you fall somewhere in between? Was it disappointing? Was it surprising? Was it everything you hoped it would be and more? Let us know. We appreciate all of y'all taking time out of your busy schedules and your lives and time with your friends and family and significant others to spend time with us to nerd out and discuss all the stuff that we love the most. Each and every view means the world to us. So thank you so much for checking this out. We're going to have these Ahsoka reviews hitting y'all fast and furious, man, minus the Vin Diesel every single Wednesday. Just a day after that premiere, baby. So make sure you're tuning in every week. We're going to have these recaps coming at y'all every single week. Got some fun content planned out on the channel this week. It's going to be some cool stuff. Going to be experimenting with some new ideas. And then getting into October, we got that spooky season stuff right around the corner. We're going to be doing that all month long. Horror content, spooky goodness all during the month of October. And we're going to have a lot of fun stuff in between. Game of Thrones right around the corner. We're going to be getting into that, rounding that up, and some other fun stuff. So make sure you stay tuned and don't sleep on any of it. Any parting words, brother, before we sign off?
As of this moment, no, not really. I think everything is pretty much got covered up and everything for this episode.
Hell yeah. We're going to see you guys again. Same time, same place. Much love. Peace out, mother Fs. Peace out.